Soo Kai opens up. Tan Songyun is the reason I believe in forever. There are interviews you watch, interviews you share, and then there are interviews that shift something deep inside you. This is one of those rare moments. Under soft lighting, Soo Kai leans forward, his voice steady, eyes shining in a way that feels like confession. For once, the mask is down. For once, what he says doesn't sound like a rehearsed line. He says, Tan Songyun is the reason I believe in forever. It begins in a quiet studio, somewhere between dusk and night. The cameras are rolling, but they almost feel like distant stars, because in this moment, the gravity of his truth pulls you close. Soo Kai's hands are steady, folded in his lap, but there is a tremor in the way he breathes that tells you this is not easy. He speaks of meeting her, really meeting her, not as a co-star, not as someone to exchange lines with, but as a person who wakes the heart. Scene 1, the first meeting. He describes walking into a venue for a ceremony. The light is golden, delicate. Tan Songyun appears, carefully composed, calm, radiant in a way that did not need lights to highlight her. Soo Kai recalls his heartbeat matching the hush of that moment. They shared a lift backstage. Just two actors, but she turned, said hello, and smiled. That smile, he says, etched something inside him. He pauses. The camera holds on him. He lowers his gaze. I thought she was beautiful, he says. Simple words, heavy with meaning. But more than her beauty, it was her kindness, her seriousness, the way she treats her art and other people. He leans back, and the gentle hum of the studio becomes background to something more intimate, as if you could hear his heart whisper. Scene 2, behind the scenes magic. They start working together. Not for cameras, not for fans, but for the craft. They discuss scenes till late night. She critiques her own performance. He admires the way she's unflinching in her honesty. On one set, they stand in a rain scene, the kind with artificial drizzle, mist swirling, lights angled just right so every drop looks like a jewel. Tan Songyun slips. Soo Kai reaches out, steadying her. Their hands brush. A flash of connection. That moment, he says, told him something. Vulnerability. Between takes, she laughs. A light laugh that seems to knock down walls around his own guardedness. He watches her tend to minor details in the set, kind words to crew members no one sees on screen. And in that, he sees integrity. In that, he sees forever. Scene 3. Private confessions. In the imagined privacy of his dressing room, after a particularly difficult shoot, Soo Kai sits across from the mirror. He is tired, sleeves rolled, costume half off. The air smells of sweat and makeup. Tan Songyun knocks softly, enters with 2 cups of tea. No cameras, no audience. She simply sits. They talk. She speaks of pressure, of moments when she doubts. He listens. He says something he's never said before. You make me want to keep going. She smiles gently, not sure whether he means his work or life or both. He realizes then that in all the storylines he's played, in all the scripted declarations, nothing matched how his heart felt right there. She had become his anchor, his reason to believe in constancy, in loyalty, in a love that does not fade with applause. Scene 4. The turning point. The drama You Are More Beautiful Than Starlight is nearing its climax. Wedding scenes are being shot. Tan Songyun, in a white gown, stands on a cobblestone street. Lamps glow like a halo around her. Rain comes again, real this time, big drops that splash. Soo Kai runs from afar, tears mixed with rain, and embraces her. The world falls away. Her eyes meet his, bright, unguarded. The cameras capture it, the crew hushes. Soo Kai later says that moment felt like both an ending and a beginning. If I believed in forever before, from that moment I knew. Fans see the photos and the scenes go viral. They speak of his sincerity, of the glow of her smile, of how he seemed less actor, more human. And though many whisper about publicity, about crafted moments, Soo Kai says, publicity could never mimic what that felt like. It wasn't a scene, it was something he carried inside. Scene 5, the confession. Back in that interview space, Soo Kai's voice quivers only slightly. He looks directly into the lens, perhaps imagining he looks into her eyes. He says, I have believed in destiny only because working beside you showed me what true partnership looks like. You show up fully. You give, without expectation. You fight for your role, your art, your integrity. And I want to be worthy of that. He pauses. The lights dim further. He adds, because of you, I believe in forever, not because forever is easy, but because forever, with you, feels possible. There is a silence, as though the world paused to let those words settle. Songyun is there, off camera, but present in every pause, every breath. Why this interview changes everything. Authenticity. In the age of polished performances, declarations made for photo ops, this felt different. Soo Kai's admission was not rehearsed. It cracked with real emotion. The way he speaks of her responsibility, her kindness, her connection to her craft, those are details only close observation gives. Lovers do not fall for perfection, they fall for authenticity. And here, he offers it. Vulnerability. He lets down armor. The image of Soo Kai, handsome, successful, admired, is public, but rarely do we see him admit fear, doubt, longing. He admits he has been afraid of losing her respect, afraid that their collaboration might remain only professional. But in that fear, he also found clarity. His love is not just for show. It is quiet, persistent, real. Hope. Because of stories like this, because of moments like these, fans who have watched his dramas hoping for the perfect love, hoping for someone who cares, someone steady, can believe, maybe they can find it too. He gives hope that someone who works hard, who treats you with respect, who laughs with you, who steadies you when you need it, someone like that can exist. He becomes, in his confession, a hero not of grand gestures, but of consistency. Reflections. What forever means if you mean it. Forever does not mean flawless days. It does not mean grand speeches every morning. It means choosing someone daily, even when the cameras are off. It means giving, without keeping score. Standing by someone when the applause is gone, when the world turns cold, when shadows stretch long. For Soo Kai, believing in forever means believing in Songyun, not just the star, not just the partner on screen, but the person who shows up. The person who stays true. The person whose compassion, whose strength, whose gentleness in the quiet moments becomes the lodestar. In a world of fleeting moments, of images made for instant hearts and fast likes, seeing someone say, "You are the reason I believe in forever," shakes something loose. It reminds us that love, real love, is built in shadows and light, in storms and stillness, in laughter and tears shared without pretense. So when Soo Kai closed that interview with eyes shining, voice hushed, saying, "Because of you I believe forever," he may have been speaking to Songyun, but he was speaking also to every heart that has waited, dared, hoped for love that lasts longer than popularity, longer than fame, longer than the next project. If this is a confession, it is also a promise. And in promises, we find the possibility of forever. There's something about beginnings. You never know it's the start until you look back and everything has changed. For Soo Kai, that beginning had a face, Songyun, and the moment wasn't grand. It didn't come with fireworks or music or dramatic slow motion. It came quietly,
softly.
almost like a dream he didn't know he'd been waiting to have. Let us go back to that night. Scene: the award ceremony where time shifted. The setting was all glitz, cameras flashing, diamonds glinting, silk sweeping across the marble floors. The 38 Stardust Entertainment Awards had every major star under one roof. Fans screamed from behind velvet ropes. Reporters lined up like soldiers with microphones as swords. Soo Kai had arrived earlier than expected. His team was ushering him through the back hallway of the venue, away from the blinding crowd. That's when it happened. The door at the end of the hallway opened with a gentle click. She stepped through. Not a dramatic entrance. Not a prepared pose. Tan Songyun was looking down, adjusting a single hairpin, the kind made of pale blue crystal. She wore a satin ivory gown, high neckline, delicate embroidery that shimmered under the hallway lights. She looked up, and the hallway seemed to narrow until only she and Soo Kai remained in it. He blinked, not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because she was real. Not an image on screen, not a tabloid headline. A real person, standing 10 feet away, and somehow that distance felt impossible and electric all at once. Scene: the elevator ride they'll never forget. The crew told them they'd need to wait. The VIP lift was temporarily paused to avoid media swarms downstairs. Just a few minutes. Just a coincidence. But sometimes the universe doesn't deal in coincidences. They stepped into the lift together. Her assistant outside. His manager on a call.
Just the two of them.
The doors closed with a quiet chime, and the moment felt like the world took a breath. Soo Kai stood on the left.
Tan Songyun on the right.
She glanced at him and smiled, the kind of smile that wasn't forced or polished. The kind of smile that comes from kindness, not calculation. I liked your role in falling into your smile, she said, casually, as if they were two ordinary people. He turned, a little surprised. You watched it? She nodded. Of course. I always watch when someone plays a character with that much restraint. That's not easy to do. Silence filled the elevator again. Not awkward, just quiet. Peaceful. The kind of silence that feels like a secret. I've seen your work too, he replied, voice softer than usual. You make emotion feel effortless. It's like you become the moment. She looked at him, then really looked, and he felt something shift. As if the air had weight, and she had just handed him something invisible but powerful. Recognition. Respect. Maybe something else he didn't have a name for. Scene: the glove moment. The elevator dinged. But neither of them moved for a second. Then she reached for her clutch, and a glove slipped from her hand. Soo Kai bent first. Their fingers brushed, and he didn't move. Not for a moment. The glove was silk. Pale gold. But it wasn't the glove he remembered later. It was the feel of her fingers. The warmth. The briefest contact, and yet it crackled with something pure. Something electric. Something timeless. She smiled again, a little shyer this time. Thanks. He nodded. Anytime. But in his mind, he was already marking that as the beginning. The moment that would return to him again and again, like a favorite scene he never wanted to end. Scene: the balcony encounter. Later that night, after the ceremony, Soo Kai needed air. The stage lights, the applause, the endless procession of cameras, it all felt far too heavy. He found a small balcony on the 3rd floor of the hotel venue. The city stretched out below, glittering and loud. But the balcony was still, and she was already there. Tan Songyun stood facing the railing, her heels off to the side, barefoot. Her dress rippled in the wind. She was humming a tune, soft and half-remembered. He didn't want to interrupt, but she turned, sensing him. "I needed a moment," she said. "So did I." They didn't speak for a while, just stood there, two silhouettes under a cloudless sky. "I don't always like events like these," she confessed quietly. "Me neither. I like the work more. The quiet kind. The scenes no one notices. The moments that feel real." He looked at her, then really looked and realized she wasn't just talking about acting. He said nothing, but he knew he'd remember that sentence forever. The interview called back. Years later, in that rare interview, when Sukai sat across from the journalist and said, "Tan Songyun is the reason I believe in forever," he wasn't thinking of red carpets or costume fittings. He was thinking of a hallway filled with soft light, of an elevator ride where words mattered more than time, of a silk glove and bare feet on a balcony. He was thinking of the way she looked at him, not as Sukai the actor, but as a person. That was the moment. That was when it started. Not with fireworks, but with quiet understanding. Not with grand gestures, but with something far more rare: sincerity. What K-Romance Central says. This wasn't just an encounter. This was an origin story. Not for a drama, but for something real. Something that outlasted screenplays and applause. Sukai didn't fall in love with a co-star. He didn't fall in love with a spotlight version of someone. He fell in love with the pause between words. The glance that said, "I see you." The moment shared in silence that spoke louder than any script. He believed in forever because he met someone who made the present feel so full, so rich, so honest, that time seemed to stretch itself around her. In a world of rushed connections and temporary affection, Sukai found something different, something lasting, something soft and strong. And it all began in a hallway, with a hello and a smile.